Hello and welcome to Module 4. Let's go ahead and get right to it. The learning objectives. What are we going to do for this module? Well, we're going to do two major activities. One is to assess a piece of writing from the lens of an editor, and the other one is we're going to analyze peers' work. I'll explain both of those as we go through this. Okay, the module overview. Go ahead and read through this on your own. There's a wonderful link here, the different stages of editing a novel. Make sure that you open this and save this. It's a wonderful this is the website right here. It breaks down the different types of editing there are. We've talked about that in class, where sometimes we really need to look at awkward phrasing, misused words, and stuff like that. That is actually one whole different stage. And sometimes we need to just do something that's not proofreading, and what's that between copy editing. So make sure you read through these. That's very important. Okay, so go ahead and read through this module overview and make sure you have that as a wonderful source, because we're going to need that for an assignment later on. Okay, module at a glance. We're going to go ahead and go through the module, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on this page. Also keep in mind that the readings and resources are right here. There is another type of, there's another website right here. What type of editing does your fiction manuscript need? Which is this one right here. It's got very similar information as to the different stages of writing. Okay, very similar what type of editing things there are. And keep in mind, there is no hard, fast rules on this. It's kind of a general overall guide that's used, but it's not set in stone. And so sometimes, but generally line editing, copy editing, and proofreading are fairly common terms that are used in the field. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and use the readings and resources. Let's go ahead and get to the next part, which is there will be an additional lesson, a video, which I have been posting like I have been doing in the past. It'll be in the announcement sections, and I won't spoil it for this week. I'll go ahead and just let you discover it. But it does relate directly to what we are doing in this module. Getting to the first assignment. Go ahead and if you click right here on the guideline and rubric, that brings it up. So what are we going to do here? Well, here's the scenario. A client brings you a piece of writing. Okay, they have requested a proofread. Now remember, we had talked before, that's your least expensive service. So again, if you go to the different stages, so like, okay, proofread, manuscript critique, developmental editing, line editing, copy editing, proofreading. This is what they want. They want this, okay? They want that. That's what they're asking for. Oops, let's go here. Okay. What kind of edit do you think the piece actually requires, and why? Well, what piece are we talking about? Well, the piece can be downloaded when you click this link. So let's go ahead and take a look at the piece. So here's the piece. Let's actually make it so it's on one page. So here's what I recommend that you do. Before you mark this up, before you do anything to this, read through it. It's what, 1, 2, 3, almost 4 pages. Read through it first to figure out what kind of editing you think it needs. And you're like, well, how am I going to decide? Well, again, after you've read it, go through and figure out, okay, well, based on my overall view, is it ready for a proofread, or does it need copy editing? Does it need line editing? Do we need to even do some developmental editing? So which one of these do you think it needs? That's very important. Okay, and again, this is kind of echoed here. So you will tell, oops, let's go back to the assignment here. So the first thing you're going to do is figure out which one it is. In this activity, you will practice editing the feedback to a client. So what are you going to do? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to write a brief letter, and you can do this all on one document with your coaching assessment. So after you've read it, say, actually, now that I've read it, I think you need a line edit, or I think you need developmental reading, or yes, actually, after I've read it, I think that a proofread would be, this is the correct way to go. So you're going to write a letter practicing your interaction with the person that you are working with, your client, okay? And then we're going to assume that whatever you recommend, that the client says, yes, that's a good idea. So if you recommend a line edit, then you're going to go ahead and do a line edit on this piece of work. Okay, so again, you would just go to the work, and if you want to do a line edit, you go to review, turn on track changes, and then you can do the track changes. You can also add comments. Hello. Okay, and then you would mark up this paper and upload it as part of the assignment. Okay, what are we looking for? So we're going to make sure that you are writing an appropriate response to them in a very professional way, and then you are going to apply whatever you say it should be done into that thing. And that's how you do this assignment right here. Okay, that is assignment 4-2. Then you would upload that one document that would include both your letter, Well, actually, you could upload 2 documents, I guess. The letter and then also the edited version. Okay, and that way I can know how to grade it. So there is 4-2. All right, now let's go ahead and go to 4-3. Okay, in Module 3, you wrote a paper, which was your philosophy on basically coaching and mentoring. What you're going to do is you're going to upload your paper, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. You're going to upload your paper so that peers can review it. And not only are you going to upload your paper so peers can review it, you are going to review your peers' other work. Okay, you need to do that for at least 2 folks. So let's go ahead and kind of get right to how you would do this. Okay, if we're going to use a new tool. You may have used this in a previous class because it was tested in previous classes, but this is fairly new. It's called Annotate. We're not using Critique It anymore. We're using something called Annotate. So the first thing you're going to do is you click right here, and you would log in using your Southern New Hampshire email and your password. Okay, and then so once you do, you log in, it gets you to this screen right here. Then you'll see this is our class. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I think it's double click it will open it up. Yeah. Okay, and we are now doing so we're going to do this for 3 different types of things that we're going to be doing. Also note right here is the Annotate user guide. This is very helpful because I'm going to show you some things that it can do, but it can do a lot more than I could possibly show in a video. So this is a wonderful tool, resource guide to show you the different things. I'll show you the bare minimums of what you can do, but you can do more with it than just what we're going to be doing. So working on this one right here, 4-3. So I'm going to go ahead and open up on this folder right here. Maybe double click it. Yeah. Okay. So there's nothing in here right now. I was like, oh my goodness. Well, I'm the first person here, and so I need to upload my file. So I need to upload that paper that I wrote back in Module 3. So let's say I find that paper, and then I'm just going to drag and drop it over here. Okay. And then I just put a test document in there, and then I'm going to hit close. So what we'll see is we'll see a whole bunch of documents where people have uploaded their first, their projects that they wrote for Project 3. Now we have to, or for Module 3. Now we get to give them feedback. Now you'll notice over here, if I click on this, it kind of gives me a little preview. Okay, well, how am I going to give them feedback? Well, I'm going to double click on the actual file. Okay. And it's going to bring this up. Now I have opportunities to give some general feedback. So as I'm reading through it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight this text right here. Okay. Now, as soon as I do that, I actually can choose what kind of annotation do I want to do. So right now it's going to underline it. I could change that to highlight. I could change that to underline. I could change that to insert, where I'm inserting something. Strike through, like, oh, that's bad. What are you thinking? Okay. Highlight may be a way to do it, because then you can leave a note here. Okay. Okay. This, is an interesting start. Where, do we go from here? My fingers are not working today. It's cold here in Raleigh. All right, and then I would save it. Boop. Okay, now once I've hit save, it is over here as an annotation. Then I have a chance, so let's say that I'm the person who wrote the paper, I could actually say, oh, well, you know what, it's a good apply. I could say, let's say I wrote something here, like, oh, I needed to change this, I could edit, or I could delete my comment. Or if I'm someone else, as I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, you know what, Jason makes a good point. I would include to, and then, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then you could save that as, you'll see there's one reply. So this is how we would do it. Then we just go through, and then we can make comments as opposed to using the track changes feature. This is how we would do it. And then if you need to go back, you just click on the little link over here, and it brings us back over here. Okay, and then we upload it, and again, you give feedback to 2 different people. So there is the things you need to do. Make sure you note the strengths and weaknesses of what they did in the work, and then give some specific feedback at the very end. So like at the very end, after you get done, I would post a little note saying, here's what my overall feedback is, and make sure that you provide that to at least 2 classmates. And then to wrap it up, our last thing we're doing is, what we're always doing, is make sure you post something in the class resources. And there you go.